to the hijab and controversy in the state of Harmony. I'll start off often with base for the conversation. The hijab controversy started, say, about 3-4 weeks ago when officials of St. Anthony Secondary School prevented Muslim female students from gaining entrance to the school, claiming that it is a missionary school. Several meetings were held between Muslim and Christian leaders to resolve the issue, with the government temporarily closing down the 10 schools until the reopening on Wednesday morning. The ownership of the 10 schools is still pending in the Supreme Court, as both the High Court and Appeal Court affirmed the state government as the owner. And now to what we have. If religiosity is the way to economic power and technological advancement, Nigeria would have been an El Dorado by now. Many Nigerians are extremely adept at being sanctimonious. They would rather fight for God than love fellow citizens. Some even kill for God to prove their right standing with their maker. Never mind that religion doesn't stop these people, especially the political elite among them, from stealing and looting the nation's commonwealth. Converting state money to personal funds is not a sin. They don't care if all the school children in the country live and die in the enclaves of terrorists, so far they can make money in the process. They are not bothered when pupils study under trees, wear tattered uniforms, and it goes on and on and on. Nigerian elite have mastered the art of using religion as a tool of manipulation to keep the poor in a state of perpetual misery. Now, Kwara State had been in the news. The bone of contention was the hijab. While this is not an attempt to trivialize the importance
religion to achieve their aims. At the end of the day, abandoning the center of humanity, which is man itself. So you discover that when people play politics, if the elites lose in their political skin, they remember their tribes. If they lose in their political frustrating, they remember their religion. If they want to manipulate the mind of people, they use religion to manipulate their mind. So you just said it all. Nigerians are very religious people, and religion is at the heart of their emotions. They even end up killing human beings because of religion. And you ask yourself, when you kill for religion, then what are you really doing? What is the essence of God on earth? Man is the essence of God on earth. So even in the Christian religion, even when God wanted to come to man, he decided to come in the form of man.
True.
And that's why we have the Lord Jesus Christ.
True.
So that in the name of religion, we even have man. And you ask yourself what we are doing. Now, to the controversy, you said it all. We do a lot of values about symptoms without actually getting to the disease. the hijab controversy has been raging in Kwara State. It's on in Lagos State. You remember that it was the case of Lagos State that actually was taken to the Supreme Court,
yes,
for determination.
Yes.
And unfortunately, and I say unfortunately because I do also think that the Nigerian judiciary hasn't helped matters a lot in this struggle to stabilize the democracy of Nigeria and the polity. I have my reasons for that. We respect the courts, but oftentimes it does look like the human element, does affect the decisions of the. You saw what's raging over the weekend about the election crisis.
Yes.
And clearly polarized between the Democrats and the Republicans. And he saw the elements of the Republicans boasting about what they had done to influence this decision. And you see the elements of the Democrats, licking their wounds about what has been done on what they claim to be the freedom of America. And so the argument continues to rage. The point I'm making is that sometimes the judiciary does not help the issues as much as it should. Remember that oftentimes we also forget that judiciary is an arm of government. So we have the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. So the role of the judiciary is very important in governance. And that's why the decision of the Supreme Court, as we had it last week, will be the final decision. Because it is final because it is final, not because it is infallible. The Supreme Court could be fallible, but because there has to be an end to litigation, there has to be an end to controversy, as it were. The Supreme Court decision is set to be final. Otherwise, the issues of Section 10, like you raised, which says that no part of the Federation or the whole of the Federation has the right to make a state religion or a religion that of the state. That is to say that no federating unit in Nigeria, be it state or local government, has any right under the 1999 Constitution as amended to make any religion a state religion. That in itself emphasizes the secular state of Nigeria.
Yeah.
That means that the instrument of the state cannot be used to further any religion or to give advantage to any religion by any means.
Yeah.
So the question becomes, if the Supreme Court says that people can put on their religious garments, because hijab, as it were, is an outfit that is meant for a Muslim woman or lady to cover herself properly in the dictates of the religion. So the question becomes whether that decision has actually contravened with the Constitution of the Federal Republic, Section 10, then whether it has anything to contravene the Section 38, which states that every citizen has the freedom of religious association or ability to express his or her religion or propagate his or her religion freely and unhindered. So the question becomes, does that decision of the Supreme Court uphold Section 38? Does it hinder Section 10? In the upholding of Section 38, because Dako, you know that my rights will end where your own right will start.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, the issue at stake was the issue of public school. It's not a matter of private school, actually. The issue I want to court was the issue of public school.
True.
If we have a public school that is funded by the state, where all shades of religious ideas are supposed to mix, where all people from different leanings are supposed to attend, and where nobody is supposed to be discriminated against based on his or her religious belief, ethnic coloration, color of the skin, or belief system. Does the use of hijab prejudice the secular nature of the state? These are the issues that not the mind. We had expected, personally, I had expected that the Supreme Court would have allowed the decision of Lagos State. You know, Lagos State had made a regulation that in all public schools there should be no outfit that will represent any religious leaning, which included the ban in the use of hijab in school. Because you take a look at it, if I were a teacher and I come into a class, I see somebody putting on a hijab, I've already profiled the person as a Muslim.
Yeah.
It could come out for good, it could come out for bad. Maybe I'm a Muslim teacher. I will have a soft spot for the Muslim lady. Maybe I'm a Christian who is adverse to probably Islam.
Yes.
I will have a misgiving about the lady and all the things she does. Because if you go to institutions of higher learning, a student is not even allowed to write his or her name on the exam sheet. You know why? To remove bias. The registration number is used to identify a student.
Yes.
Good. So the essence is for unbiased assessment, so that the examiner will be as objective as possible. So I don't think that was the basis upon which the Lagos State government outlawed the use of hijab in public school. If it was an Islamic school or private school, maybe the freedom enshrined in Section 38 will allow people to express themselves. But be that as it may, the truth of the matter is that we may not be in a position to put the Supreme Court on trial.
Yes.
Decision has been made.
Yes. We
will live with the decision pending when there is a judicial review. We hope that circumstances will come when the Supreme Court will have another opportunity to review its decision and see it from the other way. If you, like I mentioned, the American case, there was a judgment in 1973 that made abortion a legal right. Today, 49 years later, the controversial decision, because it could be famous for some people, it could be infamous for another group of people. You see the demonstrations that are going on in America, and you see the jubilation from the other camp, the conservative camps.
Yeah.
So, 49 years after, another decision has arisen, now outlawing abortion in America. So we do hope that maybe opportunities may arise for judicial review for the Supreme Court to review the decisions he has made on this particular matter.
Okay.
But I'll tell you, I said judiciary plays a very important role in our evolution.
Definitely.
And sometimes the decisions of the judiciary, they hang on us for a long time. Because if you remember the controversy surrounding the section 84 subsection 12 on the Electoral
Act, yes.
So you saw the plethora of definitions that surround who a public officer is.
Yes.
Now, some people are beginning to tell us that if you're a commissioner, if you're appointed, and you spend public funds, you are not a public officer, but a political appointee. That's what they're trying to tell us. That if you're a minister of the Federal Republic, which is a mission by the Constitution of Federal Republic 1999 as amended, that, you're not a public officer, you're a political appointee. But you remember that was stemming from the decision made by the Supreme Court on the case of Kayode Fayemi, when he was trying to become the governor of Ekiti State, that he hadn't resigned when he was supposed to. And in a bid to save Kayode Fayemi, the Supreme Court made a decision that he, being a minister, he was not a public officer, but he was a political appointee. And I told people that this will haunt us for a very long time. And it started haunting us. How could you ever say that, somebody who is serving at the pleasure of the public. Because if a president appoints him, it is because the public elected the president. The president is serving at the pleasure of the public. And as a minister represents the president in the ministry. And you turn around to tell me that the minister is not a public officer. So if I, as a taxpaying citizen of Nigeria, wants to make a demand, if I want to make a demand on the minister, I don't have the local standing to demand what I want from him, because you will tell me that he is a political appointee. He is a public officer as far as I'm concerned, as far as a lot of us are concerned. So he is a public officer, but that decision made by the Supreme Court has hunted us down to that Electoral Act Section 81 subsection 12. And you see the story hasn't ended. Last week, the Supreme Court struck out a ceasefire by the Attorney General and the President, saying that you cannot approbate and reprobate at the same time. We'll continue to deal with it until, at the time we begin to get some of these issues straightened out. Okay. But the issue of religion and subsection 10 and section 10 and section 38 is an issue that has been playing around the fabric of the Nigerian state. You remember, you mentioned Sani Yerima. Sani Yerima teed off a controversy by bringing in the Sharia law in Zamfara state. So the argument started with Zamfara. The Sharia law was not being promoted to state religion. I mean, Sharia law was a thing that affected the Muslims. How could you now promulgate it to hold sway in the entire state, thereby affecting the fundamental human rights of non-Muslims? If you sell alcohol, for instance, in a state where Sharia law holds sway, the police, what do they call them?
I'm trying to. Hijab. I think the Hijab.
The Hijab police will pay a visit to you and probably arrest you and destroy your drinks. Whereas, maybe as a Christian, I mean, your religion does not prevent you from using alcohol. And all that. And this is an infringement on the Section 38 of the Nigerian Constitution. And people have interpreted it as elevating a law guiding a particular religion to a state law, and thereby arguing that it's the elevation of religion to become a state religion.
Okay.
Like you said, you saw the hypocrisy in it. The same Sani Yerima ended up marrying a 13-year-old girl for a wife as a parting gift to himself when he was leaving the governorship. And you see the hypocrisy that we practice as a people. Has that law made Zamfara people, richer than they were? Has it made Zamfara state more prosperous than it was? Has it actually driven insecurity away from Zamfara state?
No.
And so on and so forth.
Okay.
The truth of the matter is that in this evolution, this process of evolution that we're going through, these challenges continue to come up. But we must calmly approach the resistance so that we don't entirely rock the boat in a bid to express our opinion or lack of acceptance of certain decisions that have been made in the client.
All right. At this point, we'll take a pause whilst we bring in something. Like I said during the introduction, we're talking about, or we would review the hijab and the state of the nation, even as we look into these sections, section 10 and 38. I have reasons behind it. So hang in there with me, Dr. Anarodo. I hope I pronounced your name correctly today. But
you are trying,
please, yes, thank you so much. All right, on the 23rd of June, human rights lawyer Malcolm Omihobo became an internet sensation after dressing to the Supreme Court as a priest. Yes, and
an Ifa priest.
Yes, Photos of Malcolm actually circulated the internet space like wildfire for donning an African traditional worshipper's attire. And in his words, he says that the Supreme Court on Friday, June 17, 2022, gave the judgment in an appeal filed by the Lagos State government that upholds the earlier judgment of the Court of Appeal, which ruled that the ban on hijab was discriminatory against Muslim students in the state. In his words, he says, we are free to express our way of worship in our schools and in our courts. That decision was reached on Friday, and that has encouraged me because I am a traditionalist, and this is the way I want to worship based on the decision of the Supreme Court. This is how I will be dressing henceforth in court because I am a strong adherent to Olokun, that's the god of rivers, he revealed. Now, let's look into Section 38. We've been talking about it, but let's just help our audience educate them on what it actually says. Now, Section 38 of the Nigerian Constitution states that every person shall be entitled to freedom of thought, of conscience, religion, including freedom to change his religion or belief, and freedom either alone or in community with others and in public or private to manifest and propagate his religion or belief in worship, teaching, practice, and observance too. No person attending any place of education shall be required to receive religious instruction or to take part in any or attend any religious ceremony or observance if such instruction, ceremony, or observance relates to a religion other than his own or religion not approved by his parent or guardian. 3. No religious community or denomination shall be prevented from providing religious instruction for pupils of that community or denomination in any place of education maintained wholly by the community or denomination. And finally, nothing in this section, that's Section 38, shall entitle any person to form or take part in the activity or be a member of the secret society. So, your analysis on the human rights lawyer Malcolm Omihobo as he became an internet sensation after dressing to the Supreme Court as a priest. Over to you, Doctor.
Thank you very much, Dako. I think that's the beauty of democracy, the freedom to express your dissatisfaction when it so happens. Mr. Malcolm actually became dissatisfied with the decision of the Supreme Court, and he decided to sarcastically express his decision, his disillusionment over that decision by now trying to dress in the African traditional religion
Yes.
attire, to attend a court sitting. And you saw that the court was embarrassed. The honorable justice of the court became embarrassed when he entered the court, and the court adjourned briefly, to find out what was going on.
Exactly.
When the court resumed, he was still there. The court adjourned again. Because of the trepidation that his attire had actually ensued. And he had actually made his point because he wanted to establish the fact that if everybody dressed in such a way to express his or her religious living,
Yes.
it could bring discomfort to other persons that did not profess the same religion. I mean, for the fact that such discomfort came to the honorable justices of the court was to his own satisfaction, and he had actually made his point very clearly that they look at the import of such decisions made by the honorable justice of the court, and probably a way of asking the court to review such a decision. And he said he will continue to be on such outreach, for a long time to come. So as to, he said he was going to appear in the Federal High Court today. He was going to go to another court, and that anybody who challenged him, he would make due his right to freely express. Propagate, and enunciate his religious beliefs without hindrance.
All right.
So it just tells you that in as much as these rights do exist, these rights must be expressed in temperance to other people's rights. No right is actually absolute, Dako. There is no absolute right. The essence of the law is to moderate what you do as a people.
True.
But when we take the law overboard, you will discover that at one point or the other, it does affect everybody. And this is, look, we're talking about hijab today. It does also affect other things we do, even in the southern Nigeria. So there are schools that are owned by some religious organizations. People who do not belong to such religious belief system, when they attend the school, they are forced to actually do the rituals that the proprietors or the founders of such schools actually want. Insofar as they will stay in the school, you will do their prayers the way they do it. You do the observations when they observe it. And it is difficult to let them, to allow people be free to either join them or not join them. So these things bring to the fore the fragile nature of our existence in a multi-religious, multi-belief, multi-ethnic society like ours. That we need to be very careful. I mean, we need to look at societies that have evolved in such manners where you have different religious beliefs, different cultural dimensions coming together to flux. We need to see how they have been very careful in respecting what each and every person believes in, yet coexisting together and dealing with what concerns all of them at the same time. So this is an issue we must be very careful with.
Yeah, true.
Otherwise, it will tug at our fault lines.
Oh yes.
Every society has its fault lines.
Yeah. And
if you emphasize on the fault lines, the result is that at the end of the day, it is likely that the society will be torn apart.
True.
So we need to be very careful. And those who are in a position to make decisions, maybe as judicial officers, maybe as executive officers, maybe as legislative officers, must be very cautious of the diversity that exists and the implication of the decisions we make. That realizing that the rights is not absolute. That where a right stops is where another person's right begins.
I agree.
So this argument will continue for a longer time.
Okay. Well, you have touched a bit on Section 10, but that's not where the story ends. As following the recent approval by the Supreme Court to allow female Muslim students to wear hijab in public schools, a Rivers State-based lawyer, Barrister Matthew A. Abakpa, has vowed to storm the Federal High Court Port Harcourt this week in his complete juju attire. It appears this has become a trend right now. Yes, it's become a trend because he's saying that the Supreme Court of Nigeria on June 18 granted the use of hijab by female Muslim students. And also on February 21, the Muslim Ummah in the state warned the government not to deny the people of the state their fundamental human right of wearing hijab, particularly in public schools in the state. And of course, Malcolm was also cited. And he also said, similarly, Barrister Abakpa, a fiery human rights lawyer in Port Harcourt, said the Supreme Court's decision should be extended to other religions in the country, stressing that what is good for the goose, it is also good for the gander. Yes. And he accused the federal government of plotting to Islamize Nigeria by making Islam an official religion. In his words, he says, I will appear in my full juju attire in the Federal High Court next week. The Supreme Court of Nigeria has held that it is the fundamental right of Nigerians to appear in their religious attire to schools and other public places in Nigeria, irrespective of the dress code. Nigeria is a secular state. What is good for the goose is good for the gander. And Section 10 of the Nigerian Constitution states that the government of the Federation or of a state shall not adopt any religion as state religion. So let's get your thoughts in, say, 4 minutes.
That's right. Like I said, the Section 10 actually is expressed that no part of the federation or the federal government itself shall adopt any as a state religion.
Yes.
It's clear that you don't need to go to extraordinary school to understand that.
Yes.
Now, you will agree. I agree with the Matthew to the extent that Nigeria is a secular state,
yes.
and there shall not be any attempt to elevate any religious belief to a state belief, or using the state instruments to sectionally protect any religion. But having said that, it is taking the matter to the extreme by saying that the decision of the Supreme Court is an attempt to Islamize Nigeria. That's why I said earlier that we need to be very careful the way we talk about the fault lines. Dako, the team of the justices that made the decision comprised of 7 justices of the Supreme Court. And Dako, you be certain that all of them were not Muslims. All of them were not Muslims. And if you look at the members of the Supreme Court justices, the team of justices that work in the Supreme Court, you see that, I mean, people of diverse backgrounds are from and the Supreme Court. So it's not likely. My mind doesn't tell me that it was a state policy to make a decision. Yes, I said at the beginning, the human element does influence decisions in courts. But the essence of having an arbiter in dispute is to make a point and to have a way forward. But to push it to the extreme that it is to favor one religion or the other is an extremist view. Like I said, we have in some Christian schools, without supporting anybody, where some pupils and students are meant to go through the same probably worship methods of the proprietors or founders of the school without respect to the freedom of those students to actually worship in their own religious belief or the way they've been brought up. And these things are real-time issues in our existence that we must continue to untie. You mentioned the issue of Osun State.
Yes.
So when I was left as governor, Oyetola came in and disbanded all those things. So Oyetola get back the freedom of the schools to actually choose their uniforms, and that as far as he was concerned, he made them not to look at the way students should look. So we'll continue to review the issues, and because we are an evolving society, because the society will continue to evolve, and if as the society continues to evolve, challenges of this nature will continue to appear. We must not take them overboard. I am comfortable with Barrister Matthew going to court in his own native doctor attire. That is a way of expressing himself and his dissatisfaction. Macron has done his own. That's a way of expressing his own dissatisfaction, displeasure on the decision of the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's democracy. A right to protest in your own way without infringing on the rights of others to exist. So over time, we will continue to review the situation, and God willing, at a point in Nigeria, we will come to an agreement where we will realize that wearing a hijab does not make a person a sacred person, or does not make the person a righteous person. And no use of hijab does not either make the person an unrighteous person. So those who are trying to say, oh, it's the right of the Muslims, I mean, what point are you making in saying that you must put on hijab in school? Does it make you un-Islamic if you don't put on hijab? They should move outside Nigeria and look at states that have secular behaviors. I mean, if you go to Turkey, if you go to some of the countries that India, where you have Muslims, you have Hindus, you have all manners of religious affiliation. People still coexist very peacefully, without having to force anybody to express his religious beliefs in the dressing. But the import of that Section 38 is that people have freedom to actually express themselves either way they like. And I do think, Dako, that what the Supreme Court has done is to uphold the rights of citizens as enshrined in Section 38 of the Constitution. The argument as to whether Section 10 should override Section 38 is neither here nor there. No section of the Constitution has said that this section overrides this. It actually says that there shouldn't be any prejudice to that particular section. So the point is very clear that yes, the decision of the Supreme Court upheld Section 38, freedom of people to express themselves. By the way, you see priests wear their cassock even on the road.
Yes.
Let me tell you, I mean, without prejudice to what I'm saying, with full disclosure, I am a Roman Catholic faithful. Priests of the Roman Catholic Church wear their clothes in the public.
Yes.
So even some of them that go to school, they put on Roman collar and go to secular schools. So we must try to balance our emotions, in when such issues come up. And we know that there cannot be a perfect situation. There is nothing like absolute right. The essence of these rights is to actually improve the quality of human life, to restore the dignity of man, as we say it in the United Nigeria. To restore the dignity of man. Man is the center of all laws, and all laws are geared towards improving the value, dignity, and quality of life of man, so that nobody should, in an attempt to actually uphold his or her rights, in an attempt to actually push up the law, try to harm the quality or the dignity of man. And when I say man, I mean the universal man.
Yes.
That includes men and women.
Okay. All right. At this point, I'll let you take a breather so we could get some comments and reaction from the audience. We are live on Facebook, on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and Yule Social. It's at Omega 101.7 FM. I have a comment here. I'll read it when I get back from this break. It's still the point of view on Omega 101.7 FM. Mount Radio, your radio.
Total part of the conversation. Dial 081-5101-7777 and 090-7112-1017. Please make your submissions known in a civilized manner. Put off emotional and all ethno-religious sentiments. Make verifiable claims on this platform. Respect the views of other callers, and 2 minutes is given to every caller. Each person is entitled to only one call to enable others to participate. Point of view, airing your views for the transformation of our society.
All right, welcome back. It's the point of view on Omega 101.7 FM, Mount Radio, your radio. The conversation has been on the hijab and the controversy towards the state of the nation. My guest has been Dr. Chigozie Anarodo. I'm trying to pronounce his name correctly, but nonetheless, we also reviewed Section 10 and 38 of the Nigerian Constitution. Let's get you talking. Hello? Hello?
Yeah. Good morning, my good sister Dako.
A very good morning to you, sir.
I know you are bouncing a lot this morning, Monday morning.
Yes, I am.
Glad to hear that. I greet your guest on radio.
Yeah, he can hear you. He can hear you.
Yes. I have my host, Mr. Mango, graduating from Umesh, my hometown.
Go ahead.
You see, according to Karl Marx, he says the religion is the working of the people. And when God created man, He created us without religion. I really, it's a kind of complex issue we have here. I want to cite an example of what happened sometime last year when we attended a church, I'm a Catholic. And the young lady went to the church almost naked. She was wearing totally transparent dresses, even on transparent hair, completely exposing everything that made her a woman. And when she entered, I almost lost my spiritual life that day. And I thought as well, when she also was going for offering, she was the signature of all the congregation. So the right to wear whatever one someone likes, does it apply to such human beings? If the answer is yes before man, by God it is totally no, because if you read the book of Deuteronomy, it is Deuteronomy precisely. But I can't remember the verse now. God condemns innocent, innocent person. then when you come to school, make it clear. Just construction make it clear. If you want to go to school, you go back to school, then of that school. But if it is in public school, please, anybody should be allowed to wear the address of the public school. They shouldn't bring in religion. It has divided Nigeria more than uniting us.
Okay.
But the white people that want this religion, it is a not crazy practice the way we do it here.
Okay. All right. So, thank you. You had actually used up your time. 0815-101-7777. Hello?
Good morning, my humble speaker.
A very good morning to you, sir.
I'm radiating from Olo.
You're welcome, sir.
Mr. Speaker, I want to talk to a matured mind this morning, not everybody. Mr. Speaker, let me give you this very particular thing in the proverb. A shark was swimming a very big ocean, and the sardine was swimming in a store. And the sardine saw the shark and said, "My father, Shalom," meaning this. And he rose in anger. And the sardine gave him his tail to swallow. And asked him, "Shalom," meaning peace. And he still rose in anger. And the sardine decided to give him his own scale and farm. And they still rose in anger. And until the shark came close and opened his mouth and swallowed the sardine. And he said, "Shalom," meaning peace. Mr. Speaker, I want to tell you what happened to Madibu who died recently. When he wanted to go and see one of his friends in Wasasa Hospital. And there he met an Hausa Getman. And the Hausa Getman said, "Madibu, I know you. What are you doing here?" He said, "Making a year now. What are you doing here? And are you cool? About Kaseni back and Mutaninka. Doing soldier duty like chicken mortuary, meaning many people soldiers are inside the mortuary. Who is going on and you don't know it? Who was going on and we don't know. From there, Omadebo started finding his way to Southeast. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you too. Quite deep if you ask me. 0815-101-7777 or 0907-112-1017. Good morning.
Hello, good morning. This is Chinedu from Maru.
Go ahead, Chinedu.
To what I've had, to my point of view, is like the Constitution contradicts itself. So it is time for amendment of the Constitution. Then secondly, it's like the religion of Islam supersedes other religions. And that is why in the north there is something like Sharia law. And the last I want to add is this. It's like we are also being intimidated even from the east, because Nnamdi Kanu was not allowed to change his clothes up to the last cut because he wanted to appear with Ishiago, and he was rejected. So the best thing for Nigeria now, please, if the constitution cannot be amended, let there be, a way whereby we can express, that is referendum, so that we can choose. Because this religious issue now will cause a lot of problems. That is what I'm seeing ahead. So the best thing for us, if the constitution cannot be amended before the election, let there a referendum, so that everybody can practice their own religion. Thank you.
That's great in the router system. 0815-101-7777. I take two more calls and that'll be it. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Morning to you.
This is Shekoni from Malu.
Go ahead.
Thank you. On this issue, we have what we call uniform. And I don't know why uniform is being asked or being allowed in schools. Since we have uniform, and uniform means that everybody dresses in a particular dress code. So why allow another thing into it? I remember when I was small in primary school, I was living with my aunt in Osun State. The school I was attending then, I don't know, even today, sometimes I keep asking myself, why was I put into that school? I was wearing this hijab and tying this thing around my head. Because I realized that it was a music school. I was maybe it's the cheapest, or maybe that is why I was putting there. But as a Christian, I still tie those things. What is the uniform of that school? I don't know why the government or the Supreme Court or want to put a controversy eventually if there is not the strength in this country. And sometimes you try to make analysis, try to balance it where it does not exist. When we talk of some levels wearing this thing around, wearing it to got kids, I think uniform is meant for students, not for teachers or whatever. So for me, it's uncalled for. I don't see how. And if it has to be like this, everyone will start wearing their, even the white garment churches will start wearing their white garment to schools. And then affecting our freedom of religion. Sometimes this is the reason why we are where we are today. When the conference was coming in, the same thing happened. And he keep breaking the law, taking appointment for one target. And some people who try to balance it, Allah is sometimes to speak those that he trusts. And today, this is where we are. Almost all the professors in the military and everything is being headed by one people in this country. And that is because we don't all right. At the end of the day, we all be doing like that. Thank you.
All right, thank you too. We are live on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, You Social, and Twitter. Like her page, subscribe, you get updates. The content is live. This is a message from Otto Francis Nemani saying that he's actually watching live from Amakunze in Enugu State. He says the relevant authority should try to resolve these unwarrantable controversies surrounding wearing of hijab. This is my last call. Hello? Hello? Yeah, please be audible.
Yeah, I'm calling from Ovidio.
Go ahead.
Yes, wearing of hijab for the Muslims, it's meant for Muslims, not for Christians. Like what your colleague here said, that Reverend Fathers do come to practice their attire as a Reverend Father. Yes, we have schools owned by missionaries. We have public schools, we have Methodists, we have Anglicans. The Reverend Father can wear his sudan or the attire to the Catholic school to teach. It doesn't concern the student. If you are a Muslim and you want your child to be in the Catholic school, she has to pay for to be used and read the source of the Catholic school. Now, here up north or anywhere, if Muslims have their schools, they can wear whatever they want to wear to their school and not to import it to the public school where many denominations of children are attending. So what I am saying here is that wearing of hijab in the public school is uncalled for. It is not proper because it is a gathering of so many religious believers. So if it is the Muslim school, they can send their hijab here. If a Christian wants to decide to be here, that Christian can the child has to obey to the regulations of their school. So what I am saying is let us balance it together. Because when you make up section 10 of the Constitution section
38. 38.
Yes, there's a difference between those two sections. The Supreme Court judges have to. Because if you wear your hijab for going around for normal people, no problem.
Okay. All right.
That's what I mean. Thank you.
All right, God bless you for contributing as well. Okay, at this point, I'll get back to Dr. Gozie. He's on the other side. So let's get his conclusion on the views from several callers. We sincerely apologize. This is how far we can go. I can take any other call, but let's speak to Dr. Gozie. All right, over to you, Dr. Gozie. You heard some person speak. What's your analysis? What is the way out?
Thank you, Dako. And I thank the callers, Chinedu, Uche, and the rest of them that called. It shows that they are conscious of the discussion. You see, let me get it clear. When I spoke about Reverend Fathers, I did not speak about them, to try to, So there are priests who are students. There are some of them who are my students. But the fact that he's a kid doesn't mean that he wouldn't be a student. So the point I was trying to make is that we need to bring tolerance to the things we do. You said it very earlier in the program that you don't need to fight for God. I mean, God is able to fight for himself. The truth of the matter is that it's because we are at the level of development where we are. That's why we are dealing with some of these petty issues. Time will come where you won't even notice what the person beside you is wearing. That's the truth of the matter. Some societies that have evolved to an extent, you discover that there are more important issues that are bothering the society. The issues of health insurance, the issues of quality of education, issues of the kind of security they have. They are not no longer talking at such primordial issues of religion, ethnicity. And you see people who are the lowest rung of the ladder killing themselves for people at the top. People who are religious people killing themselves for a religious organization or religious belief. What is it that you believe in? Is it on God? God is able to fight for himself. So having said that, I have not made any statement to say that we should clap for the decision of the Supreme Court that says people have a right to dress in the way they have. It is an upholding of the Section 38 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. And you know that people can interpret a particular law in different ways.
True.
But the decision of the Supreme Court is taken as the final decision.
True.
The final decision, not because it's absolutely infallible, but there has to be a stop to litigation. Maybe another opportunity will present when we review. Let nobody begin to see it as the one religion having an upper hand over another religion. No. The reaction from this part of the country is actually very understandable. So we must begin to tolerate some of things that do not sing very well with us. Over time in our development, we realize that these things don't really matter so much, that the essence of humanity, the essence of our existence is man. And everything we do must be to the quality of life man lives, the dignity of man, and not such petty issues that we chase around. Having said that, I also said that, like the people have observed, that I had wished the Supreme Court had gone the other way. But he has made a decision. We need to live with it. It does not mean that if we don't amend the Constitution today, that we wouldn't have a country. Dako, the United Kingdom that colonized Nigeria doesn't as much have a document written and put together that's called the Constitution. But they have a culture, they have tradition, they have values.
All right.
I mean, even the Constitution of the United States of America is even smaller than the Constitution of Nigeria. They still live. Nobody can legislate how you do everything in life. The essence of the Constitution is to have a guide. But if man begins to actually uphold the real value of human life and making sure that the human life is at the center of everything man does, you realize that legislation will do very little thing to pushing forward our existence. So let us de-emphasize those things that talk at our phone lines. The more important things of life are not those things. That is why Malcolm X made that term, maxim, that it is that religion is opium of the masses. Let us use religion to uphold man, and let us use the things that surround us to improve the value of life and dignity of man, which is the essence of creation.
Okay.
Thank you, Dako.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Gozie Anarodo. He is a development scientist, an academic, and public affairs analyst. I say thank you once more for doing this with me. I'll get back to you on the other side. Do have a good day.
Thank you, Dako. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. All right, and that's how we wrap up the point of view today. But there's this comment on Facebook by Chukwebuka Don Great, which From Umunze, he says the issue of wearing hijab that is causing problem in the system should be addressed properly, because if we bring in religious controversy to this country, that means there will be total contradiction of the 1999 Constitution in Section 10 and 38. So let the appropriate body resolve this before it's too late. Okay, let's see if we can squeeze in one more text message. This one is from Wosu. M. Sindiawa says our problem in this country is that we leave substance and pursue shadows. What has hijab got to do with our galloping inflation, high prices of goods and services, increasing poverty level of the masses? Nigeria is a secular state, and this secularity must be strictly adhered to. Religious extremism is detrimental and destructive to progress. We should always exercise restraint in matters pertaining to religion, and we should note that all religions should be treated equally. Currently, we are immersed in very serious political, social, and economic problems that need urgent solution and shouldn't allow avoidable irrelevances to deviate our focus. Enough of hijab controversy. That's from Moso M. Sindiawa. All right, the point of view makes a return tomorrow, and tomorrow we're going to be looking into the fuel rise, the cost of LPG. That one sickens me, kerosene and everything around it. So that conversation is for 9 a.m. tomorrow. My name is Dako Senami. Several programs lined up today, Monday being the last Monday in the month of June, for you listening to have a good Monday. Good morning.